Welcome to another edition of the Insider Mailbag. I'm Jarret Johnson. I'm joined by the mighty Joe Yeager. Mighty Joe, man, beautiful, beautiful day today. Everybody else is freezing their butts off across the country. Here in Lubbock, man, we actually took our jackets off. Showed up with jackets. I was like, man, it's too hot. Yeah. So, man, it's good to be in Lubbock right now.
I know. We could be wearing shorts. Yes. So all you Yankees up there, all I got to say is,
Yep, absolutely.
We're in good shape.
That's right. All right, we got some good questions. We're going to jump into them. Tall Mike wants to know, it's a recruiting question. He says, guys, with all the respect for what you were able to uncover, do you find yourself at times surprised at who pops up after a class is actually filled, which may not finalize until several months after the signing day? Yeah, I mean, it just depends. You know, it depends on the guy. Sometimes it comes out of nowhere, because sometimes things develop like really fast. What's the guy from Texas, the grad transfer from Texas, the safety?
John Bonney.
Yeah, John Bonney. I mean, that happened in like a matter of hours. You know what I mean? That was crazy. Like, you know, I remember I came and shot one of these with you, or a couple of these videos with you, and then in the process of doing that and going and having some lunch, like everything had happened. You know, it was crazy. So sometimes it shakes out like that. And sometimes, to me, I don't want to be scooped or anything like that. I don't want to be surprised. I mean, that's what you're always fearful of in this line of work is, oh, is this going to come from out of nowhere? But it happens. It's going to happen, you know. But almost worse than that for me is when you know something's going to happen and you've been told, you've been privy to the information, and you've confirmed it, and then it just drags out. You know what I mean? So you're like, okay, I told you this is going to happen, but it hadn't happened yet because of who knows what factor. So, I mean, recruiting is a crazy game, and things change so quickly. It's really hard to describe, and I think the best way for me to describe it, Joe, is look, you got to take each individual recruitment, whether it be a transfer or high school guy, junior college guy, no matter the sport, as its own individual entity and not take anything for granted. That's, I mean, because when you assume stuff or you take stuff for granted, that's when you really get burnt. You know what I mean? Because worse than being surprised is giving out false information. Giving false information, then, I mean, what good are we, you know? Yep. So you got to be really careful about what you're saying, and, you know, aware that news will change quickly. All right, next question comes from 54th Street. It's another recruiting question, but this is more about basketball, I believe. It says he's curious how the recruiting process works for the foreign kids, talking about Andre Sarasov. How do you say that? Say that again. Andre
Savrasov.
Man, does he not sound KGB or what? I'm telling you. Anyway, so yeah, speaking of being surprised, I was unaware. All I heard was there was a foreign guy in play, is what I was told, and that something big could happen soon. That's what I was told. And then boom, here he is. He's enrolling, you know, he's here. I was like, okay. So that was a surprise. But 54th Street wants to know, is there a database for these kids? How do coaches find out about these guys? Well, this is the same as it is with American recruits. It's about relationships. We've mentioned on the board some, but Max Lefevre has been great as far as contacts with international guys. Definitely with Davide. He was instrumental in getting Davide, or knowing about him and then recruiting him. And then absolutely with Andre, what I've been told is, I mean, it was another Max Lefevre contact, and he found out about it, was told about him, and then Tech started checking him out, and, you know, I believe it ended up being all the coaching staff. You know, they all pitched in. I'm not sure who went to Russia, but I believe they did actually go visit Andre in Russia too. So I mean, it's all hands on deck. You know what I mean?
That's a heck of a trip, man. I mean, you know, the guy comes from a place called Orenburg, which is actually, that's not even like close to the European part of Russia. Right. That's way out east, kind of down south of the Ural Mountains, kind of a remote area. It's near Kazakhstan, for crying. It's almost in Central Asia as much as anything else. So I mean, if you're going from Lubbock, Texas to Orenburg, I just can't imagine how long of a trip that will take. And that shows some commitment to the guy right there, that you're willing to venture all the way out there. So very interesting.
Apparently he spent a lot of time in St. Petersburg too. One of the coaches told me that.
Maybe that's where they met him.
So that's, and that's like one of the biggest cities in the world. I mean, cosmopolitan city there. There's not many places in Russia for me personally that I'd like to go to, but St. Petersburg on the right season, not the cold season when you basically freeze as soon as you step outside. But I mean, during the right season, I'd like to go check out that city. Next question, another recruiting question. What, surprise, surprise. Raider Power 81 wants to know, with the NFL success of Patrick Mahomes and some of Tech's receivers, does Tech get a boost in recruiting from their success, or did Tech lose it with Kingsbury going out? Well, Kingsbury certainly got a boost from Patrick Mahomes' success, because that's really the only explanation for the results here and then him falling up. You know what I mean? So, as far as Texas Tech, I think, it'll help some. I don't know how much benefit, but Mahomes looks like he's going to be there for a long time, one of the great ones. And he is such a great ambassador and quick to mention Texas Tech and how much he loves Texas Tech. Yeah, I think it's going to help some. Yeah, Kiki QT doing his thing. I think he has a chance to be a star if he can stay healthy. I mean, he's looked really good when he's been healthy for the Texans. There's some other guys up there for sure, of course, but I mean, I don't think the Red Raiders didn't get a huge push from Crabtree having a pretty good career, or Wes Welker, Danny Amendola winning the Super Bowl. It's not like I've ever heard a recruit say, man, Danny Amendola won a Super Bowl, I got to go to Texas Tech. I've never heard that. Mahomes is unique though, so I think you could get a boost there. But even Kingsbury didn't get a big boost from Mahomes when he was here. Now, Mahomes hadn't really broke onto the scene, so we would have seen it with this next upcoming class, really, the 2020 class. But I think it'll be minimal, and I think Kingsbury benefited the most from, is the easiest way to say it. And I don't blame him. I mean, he discovered him. He was the one guy who took a chance at one Power 5 coach who offered Patrick Mahomes a scholarship, so I tip my cap to him. Basketball question, Mighty Joe, from Texan 40. He said he was hoping Ondigo would come on this year. It is apparent when Odiasi and Owens are in foul trouble that Tech really needs a third serviceable big man. He said he knows he was in a boot recently, which was said to be minor, but what are the reasons you think he isn't progressing into the lineup after some time on in the program? What do you think, Joe?
Well, I mean, there's two explanations. One is what he's mentioned, that with the injuries, and he seems like he's been banged up at least half the time or close to it, to one extent or another, and we can't know exactly where he's been, what percentage, health, and so forth and so on. But if you're hurt, you can't play, you can't practice as well. I mean, you can't. It just slows down your development if you just can't get healthy. So that's one possible explanation. The other possible explanation is, listen, you don't hit on all your recruits. I mean, some guys, not everybody's going to be Zaire Smith or Jarrett Culver, and maybe Ondigo is just not a guy who's going to be a major factor for you. But he's got 2.5 years still to play, assuming that he sticks around the entire time. So it's certainly too early to write him off or anything like that. But I mean, there's no denying the fact that he has not made much of an impact at this point. And, with the injury right now, I don't see him probably having much of an impact this year. We'll see next year, or we'll tell the tale. It really will kind of put up or shut up as a junior.
Yeah, I agree. He was really raw coming in anyways. Coach Adams actually was the one who, before he recruited him to Tech, he said, you could probably use a year of prep school. And so he went to Putnam. And it served him well. He needed it. But he's obviously not there yet on the court. Now, he has not made an impact on the court. That you can't deny that. But one thing that I have heard is in recruiting, he's one of the main hosts. Beard actually described him as the best host he's ever had as a player, other than Chris Ogden's brother back in the day when Bob Knight was here. So that's huge. I mean, that's a big deal. So if nothing else, he is making an impact with the morale of the team. Everybody likes Malik. You'd like to see him do it both on and off the court. And I'm not just saying this to say it. I mean, I believe this to be a fact, that he is helping with morale, he is helping with recruiting, and I do think he could be a guy that by his senior year, he has that senior year where he's really good, he's a contributor, 10-point, 6-rebound guy. I think that could happen. He's just not there yet, obviously, for several reasons. So we'll have to see with Malik. All right, Mighty Joe, this last one, I think it might rile you up. I don't know if you've actually seen this question. I sent it to you, but Riding Fearless wants to know, he says, there was originally some discussion that Davide Moretti would leave Tech after 2 years. Do you have any information to confirm or deny that is still the case?
Yeah, I'm not sure where people are getting this stuff, to be perfectly honest. It seems like it's just pure speculation to me, because I haven't heard or seen or anything that would suggest that's the case. I mean, he's If he wanted to, he could.
Yeah,
you know,
he
I mean,
could.
he could. But I mean, really, what does he gain for it? I mean, you know, if he wanted to jump pro at the European level, I suppose he could. But I don't get the sense that he's destitute and living in the streets or anything.
Yeah,
His dad's a big-time basketball coach over there. Bologna, Italy is a very nice place.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think finances are going to be a factor there.
Yeah.
So it kind of comes down to him for what is best, probably, for his overall development as a basketball player.
Yeah.
Okay, is it going back to Europe? I mean, are you going to get anything better over there as a basketball player in terms of development, learning, competition, and what you're facing in the Big 12 and what you're getting from Beard and Adams and those guys? Yeah, I don't think so. Riley, yeah, absent John Riley, he's getting bulked up, no better strength and conditioning
He's
over.
Clearly getting better. I mean, he almost like he was better early this year than he was last year. He was better in the tournament. He actually hit some huge shots for you in the tournament, and then he's been better in Big 12 play. Joe, he seems to get more efficient as the season goes along.
Yeah, he can see the improvement as much as anybody else. He's got to be happy with that. He seems like he's happy. He's confident, you know, and you know, and on top of that, you know, he's got the possibility if he sticks around, which I think he will, of playing maybe for a national championship contender next year. I mean, that's a pretty big deal. And you know, it's something else he's talked about is playing in front of these massive crowds here. Really blows him away. He said back in Italy, you know, a packed house was maybe 4,000. Here you are getting 15,000 sometimes.
He's about to play in front of 16,000 here on Saturday.
Right, which he did last year. So, I mean, all that stuff makes an impression. College basketball is not as big as college football in this country, but it's a big deal, and particularly when you get to this time of the year, March Madness. You don't experience that anywhere in any other place, in any other sport, anything like that. So, to me, everything is on the side of staying, and I see very little reason for him to go.
Everyone,
right. Unless he's homesick or something like that, he can't get good Italian food here. And if that's the case, Davide, just talk to me, and I'll hook you up with some serious, genuine, bona fide Italian food right here in Lubbock, Texas, because we do some of that cooking, and it's the real deal. So, but yeah, I just don't, unless there's something like that going on with just being homesick, which you think that would have materialized already. Here he is 2 years in. Nah, I just don't see it.
Yeah, I think the question is, could he probably go pro in Italy? Absolutely. I think there's a market for Davide Moretti. I mean, I think he could. But that doesn't mean he will. And I haven't heard anything to say that he will. He could. Now, maybe after his junior year, you know, like you said, they could have a run. Maybe so. I don't know. But no, there hasn't been any. I haven't heard anything concrete like, oh, watch out for Davide. Now, Culver, he's gone. I mean, I would be shocked at this point. And hearing more and more information that I think Culver's gone. He is gone. But I think Moore will come back and really be a big part of cementing that group that's coming in. You know what I mean? The Ramsey and Khalid Thomas and Chua and all those guys, man. It's going to be a really impressive group, talented group. And I think Davide is going to be a calming influence there, a guy you can count on who knows what's expected in Chris Beard's program and John Riley's strength program. So, now I'm excited to see Davide play for at least, you know, the rest of this year and another season. So, Joe, great stuff from you as always. Great questions from y'all, and until next time.